Alright, this is John Kohler with OKRAW.com. Today we have another exciting episode for you, coming at you from my beautiful backyard garden here in the springtime. And it is Earth Day. I think it's tomorrow, or maybe today, depending on when you're watching this, because this video is being released, I think, on the 21st or 22nd. And that makes the 50th celebration for Earth Day. You know, and every day on Earth Day, I go to Earth Day festivals and do something, just a little bit of something to change in my life for the better, to make the world a better place. I've been making Earth Day videos for many years. I have several over the different years on my different channels. But on my OKRAW channel today, especially for people that are into eating fruits and vegetables because they are the healthiest foods on the planet, the one thing I want to share with you guys, in my opinion, is the most important thing you could do for Earth Day. Yes, of course, reducing your consumption, you know, not buying things in plastic packaging, you know, not buying and supporting plastic bottles, you know, turning off your lights, turning your heater down, turning your air conditioner a little bit, you know, set it so that it doesn't get as cold in your house, you know, saving water. I have Energy Star conserving appliances and low flow water shower heads, and recycle all the cardboard I get. I don't take plastic bags. At stores, generally, I usually use just reused cardboard boxes. So I strive to, you know, leave a lighter footprint on the planet. I drive an electric car, you know, I've done a lot of things, and I continue to, you know, make little progresses to make my life even better and lead a lighter footprint on the planet. But the one thing I want to share with you guys, if you are going to take one action this Earth Day, for the 50th celebration of the Earth Day, the one action I suggest you guys would take would be to grow your own food. This, in my opinion, is the most important action you can take for Earth Day to help save the Earth, but more importantly, you know, enrich your lives as well as the lives of the soil microbes, as well as your local wildlife population, and create community. Maybe not with other people because we're social distancing, but create communities among the plants, among the birds and the bees, among the nature. These are Earthlings, and Earthlings in the term of that these are creatures on the earth that also live here with us. We're not just Earthlings, it's everything else that lives here and inhabits the earth. And, you know, we're very human-centric people and think we're like the center of the you know, the earth and all these things. But, you know, earth is a complex system, and if one thing gets out of balance, then the whole thing may go kaput. So gardening, super critical, super important. I just planted my tomatoes here this year. I got lots of like cherry stout tomatoes out there, and then patio tomatoes, smaller tomatoes that are on the edge. But in this episode, actually, I want to show you guys the 10 ways a garden can help save the planet. Way number one, a garden can help save the planet is because, you know, whether you like it or not, carbon in the atmosphere is increasing, right? I mean, I remember when it was like 350, and now it's like, I think I looked today and it was like 414 parts per whatever they counted in, and it's just increasing. And in my estimation, this is not necessarily a good thing, and I think, you know, while carbon has fluctuated in the atmosphere during all of human history, it's never been this high before. And I believe the carbon in the atmosphere being so high is because of industry, you know, primarily, whether that's the animal agriculture industry, whether that's the, you know, automotive and transportation industry, whether that's a coal burning plant industry. Many different industries are causing this, and you can contribute less to industries by growing your own food, but more importantly than, you know, driving an electric car and not burning gas that puts carbon in the air, is to grow things that takes carbon out of the air, right? Rainforest trees. If you live in the tropics, that's one of the best things you guys could do, is plant a tree that is alive year-round, that is photosynthesizing, pulling carbon out of the atmosphere, sinking it back into the ground like it should. That has happened in all of history until we started pulling carbon out of the ground, such as fossil fuels, and burning them and then releasing the carbon back into the air. You know, even vegetable plants. You know, I think there's a greenhouse over in, I don't know, some European country that's basically pumping carbon out of the air and feeding it into a greenhouse to feed their plants the carbon so the plants grow better, and it removes carbon out of the air. It's literally nature's carbon filter. So yes, plants are nature's carbon filter, whether you want to plant some fruit trees or whether you want to plant a garden. The more greenery we could have on the planet, the better, in my opinion, to help mitigate the carbon in the atmosphere. In addition, like rainforest and forest and greenery is being literally chopped down and being replaced with, big swaths of animal agriculture, to support all the animals that are being eaten. So the other thing, of course, I would recommend is reducing your animal consumption or just eliminate it completely like I have. Second reason why garden is so beneficial to you and the planet is because it literally removes all the food miles from your food, right? Whether you're buying imported bananas from Costa Rica or pineapples from Mexico or tomatoes from Mexico or, tropical fruits from Ecuador, all these things in some cases have to be transported in by air, which is a really high carbon cost. Other foods may be shipped locally. If you live, in the middle of the country, they may have to ship foods from California, on trucks. That's a lot of trucking and diesel particulate in the atmosphere that basically is not good for the air. So you can remove all the food miles by literally growing a garden in your backyard, right? Or your front yard, wherever you are legally allowed to do so. I have a full garden in my backyard. It's like 24 different raised beds. This bed has tomato. I have 3 beds now of peppers. I have chard. I have herbs. I have mint. I have broccoli. I have cauliflower. I have arugula. I have lettuce. I have sugar snap peas. There are so many different foods that I could eat. And guess what? Especially if stores shut down due to pandemics or epidemics or World War V, whatever happens, 3, whatever we're on, right? You're going to have your own supply of food, so you have more food independence. Plus, if I'm hungry, I don't have to leave my house to go to the store, right? I have everything I need. I could survive off only the food I grow in my backyard. It wouldn't be so fun because I wouldn't have as much variety because I need really a lot more space to grow a lot of fruit trees, although I do have some kumquats. I have everything I need to put together an easy salad from my backyard, so I literally don't have to leave my house. So, whether your food miles to get to your store, right, you're going to eliminate all that, and you're going to reduce the miles you have to put on your car or maybe on your legs if you're biking or walking, or a bus you have to take to get to the grocery store, to buy your food, right? You could just grow it in your backyard. And I step out my back door, cut my plants, and within 30 days, these guys already got flowers. I'll probably be eating some of my own homegrown tomatoes. Third reason to have your own garden is because it saves water. Oh my God, especially if you guys are eating animal products. Animal agriculture is so water intensive and uses so much water to produce like 1 pound of animal product. Vegetable, production in big mass agricultural fields can be quite inefficient because they may be using overhead watering systems, irrigation, that has lots of evaporation. I use water efficient drip systems and I water as needed because I can manage my garden myself. And when they grow, large scale agriculture, they can't precisely control every last drip of water that is being watered. Sometimes they have leaks they don't take care of, blah, blah, blah. But you can precisely control the amount of water your plants get so that you can save water. Water is a limited resource. People say, oh, the oceans are full of water. Yeah, okay, that's water. It's not fresh water. And unfortunately, large companies are just buying up, water rights and pumping it out of the ground, shoving it into plastic bottles that you buy. That's basically depleting the water, or on some levels even using fresh water faster than the earth can replenish it by a natural cycle of things, being rain, melting snow, and all these things. So yeah, save water by growing your own food that takes less water. Fourth reason why gardening is so good for you and the planet is because it will reduce plastic packaging and other packaging waste and materials, right? Hey, I like buying my produce in bulk when I can that has no packaging, but unfortunately not everything comes without a package. Sometimes, things are just like, they can't really sell berries without a package because they're just going to fall everywhere. I see where they sell in bulk in some places, which is really rare, but I am unable to avoid plastic packaging on my specific diet, although I try to minimize it whenever possible and buy things without packaging. But some produce comes in packaging. If you have your own berry plants, like I grow strawberries and raspberries and blackberries, right? When I grow those fruits, right, they have no packaging. I don't even have to buy anything in packaging. I just go out there and pick the foods whenever you eat ready to eat them, right? Salads. A lot of you guys might be buying those pre-bagged salads, pre-made salads, pre-washed salads that come in the bags of the plastic, right? Well, hey, buy them in bulk, might be a bit cheaper, and also save on some of that the plastic and stuff. But when I want a salad, I don't buy those. I just come out to my garden, pick leaf, this leaf, that leaf. Here's a leaf, there's a leaf. Everywhere's a leaf in my garden, basically. And I have a salad without packaging. So, instead of reducing your packaging, just eliminate it and have your own garden. I talked to somebody this morning, they're going to plant their own strawberries and raspberries and blueberries, right? No packaging. And if you plant greens are the easiest thing to grow, right? Grow them and pick them and eat them. No packaging either. Fifth reason to have your own garden for you and the planet is to quelch and stop food waste. Oh my God, food waste is rampant, in our current system as it is set up. The farmers just produce as much as they think they could sell, and it's very rare that they grow just enough so that they don't sell out and they don't overrun, right? And if they overrun, then they're going to have too much extra produce. It's going to go to waste. It's going to go bad. I mean, I think now during the coronavirus, they're having to dump lots of different agricultural commodity products that are not being sold as much because restaurants and schools and institutions are shut down, so they don't have all the customers, and it's basically just going to waste, right? When I have my own garden, I could tell you nothing is wasted, whether I'm picking it, because if there's some ripe tomatoes, I'm picking it and eating it before it goes bad. And if I do by chance miss it, there's still no waste, because then it goes into my compost pile. It then feeds my soil for the following growing season, right? In standard, agriculture systems, there will always be waste left over and food going bad. And here's the thing, right? How many times have you bought a pre-made salad, right? Or maybe some fruits that got a little bit too ripe, and then you had to just throw them away or compost them, right? In my garden, there is no food waste, because I will not pick a tomato and just keep it inside. I will only pick the tomato and eat it as I need it, right? If I have lots of leaves growing, then I might pick all the leaves and I'll preserve them for later. Some ways you can preserve your harvests for later, or you can freeze them, you can, ferment them, you can dry them or dehydrate them, you could can them for later use so that you could continue to eat out of your garden even when your garden is not in production. Luckily, in my climate, I'm able to grow year-round. Sixth reason why gardening is good for you and the planet is because it literally eliminates the use of petrochemicals in your garden or on the crops you are eating, right? Even if you're buying organic or even worse, conventional crops, right? They are using synthetic fertilizers made from natural gas, for example, to basically fertilize the crops. Then what happens is they cannot exactly put the amount the plants need, so they put more, so then there's basically runoff. So then that runs off into the rivers, lakes, and streams. It goes downhill basically to the Gulf of Mexico, and it creates dead zones, which is hurting wildlife and animal life and causing algal blooms, which is imbalancing systems. In addition, if you're buying conventional food, they're being sprayed with literally pesticides, herbicides, and fungicides, miticides, all these different chemicals that, in my opinion, are not good for the environment. Some of these are even persistent and can continue to, live or make it through even a composting cycle, so that if you use compost that was, sprayed with some kind of herbicide, right, the compost that you use could just kill your plants, because now that herbicide is persistent. It is not breaking down as fast. So I want to encourage you guys always, if you guys don't want to grow a garden, at least buy organic. That's a step in the right direction. Maybe buying local organic is even better, but even better than that is growing your own food and not using synthetic fertilizers, not using these toxic sprays that get released into our environment. Because here's the thing, when you guys are voting with your dollars. Every time you buy conventional food, whether you believe it or not, and even if you're saving money on buying conventional food, you're voting I vote for spraying toxic pesticides, using fertilizers that are going to pollute the planet, pollute the soil, into the soil, because that's what I'm buying. If you make the organic choice, well, yeah, that's a little bit better, but hey, I want you to go the whole distance. I teach good, better, best on my channel, and do the best you can. Hey, if the only thing you guys have locally is conventional produce because you can't get organic because of whatever reason, do that. But then, I would encourage you to plant your own food, plant your own garden, so you could literally reduce and eliminate, this from occurring to our planet, because in my opinion, we are destroying the planet, whether you're doing it consequently or inconsequently, through your purchases. Seventh reason for having a garden that's good for you and the planet is because you are creating a community, right? You know, we are not solitary creatures, and it has been a little bit challenging for me to live in these, stay-at-home order times and social distancing times when I'm not going out as much. I've canceled like 4 to 5 trips already. I was actually supposed to be leaving to Hawaii today, that I actually had to cancel the trip because everything's on lockdown, and I really love to travel so much. And we are social creatures, but here's the thing, right? If we think besides just us, right, there are many other social creatures on the planet that, when a house gets built, they basically bulldoze everything, they build a house, and basically it removes all of nature, right? There's some kind of like cool song that talks about like, cutting down fields and, bringing in shop malls and all these things. But, when you build a garden, you bring back community, you bring back the nature, you bring back and make a place for other earthlings to hang out, right? I mean, in my garden, not with my tomatoes here, but like with my brassica flowering plants, there's a bee that just flied around. There's like pollinator bees, there's birds, there's hummingbirds that come to feast on my stuff. They are so cool to watch, and I'm providing a habitat for them. Both my neighbors, one neighbor has basically rocks in his backyard, the other neighbor just has the random weeds that are growing up, but I'm providing probably the most habitat for all the creatures on the planet to encourage them, because, living on this planet, on the planet Earth, this is a complex system with every creature that is actually checks and balances for other creatures, right? If there's an imbalance of one, then another one will come in and eat all those, and then, try to keep things in balance, unlike our government, which in my opinion, there's no checks and balances that are actually working properly. Eighth reason for having your own garden is so that you can stop soil erosion. I don't know if you guys looked into this lately, but the food quality is going down since the 1950s. And soil erosion is happening at record levels. And they say, we're basically over-farming. People know we're over-farming the oceans, right? And there's maybe going to be no more fish in the oceans if we keep over-farming it. But we are also over-farming something even more important in my estimation, is the soil. And this is not something that's really talked about, right? Standard conventional agriculture processes, including conventional and even organic to big extents, are messing up the soil. They're eroding the soil. They're making the soil worse instead of better, right? If you get in a relationship, do you want your relationship to become worse or better, right? If your relationship becomes worse, you're probably going to break up, right? And soil is basically literally getting broken up by all the soil erosion. It's getting infertile. Places are no longer being able to grow food. There's desertification going on the planet. And to reverse this, you need to take a stand for yourself, because if we all put in our own garden, and you don't even have to grow 100% of the food you eat. I'm not even there yet. That is my goal one day. But just grow a small percentage of the food you eat to reduce your overall, emissions created in your overall footprint on the entire planet. This will be a better place because of it, When I leave my garden here and the soil, this soil is in better condition than when I found it, right? I have put lots of time, effort, and expense into building this soil here and having the most nutritious soil with micro life in there, with different trace minerals in there, with worm castings and bacterial and fungal colonies and counts and mycorrhizal species. And this is some of the best soil probably in my city, actually, because literally where I live, it's basically desert sand for the most part, right? And the soil is super critical to human health. It is a foundation of societies through all of history, and we're destroying it. So do your part to grow your own garden. Do the things that will improve your soil on your land and improve the soil underneath. So even if I dug up the raised bed here underneath, the soil is also more fertile and rich, because all the nutrients and bacteria and microbes are basically filtering down into the soil to make the soil here on my property even better. Standard agricultural practices such as tilling, which is done even on organic farms, is destroying the soil, destroying the microlife, destroying its porosity, and destroying its capacity to basically exchange nutrients, into the plants and work properly. And, this is a huge issue. Even organic farmers, unfortunately, are still doing tilling to the majority extent, because that is what is normally taught in agriculture schools, and I am all for no-till agriculture. So if you do put in a garden, I would encourage you guys to do a no-till agriculture. And, easily when you're doing raised beds, you definitely don't have to till anything. Ninth reason for growing your own garden and your own food for you and the planet is because the plants, are the best filters on the entire planet, right? They're the best filters, right? What are they filtering? Well, they're filtering the air, right? There are studies that NASA did that show, formaldehydes are literally pulled out of the air by the plants, or maybe the roots of plants or the bacteria on the plants that are basically eating these toxins and basically producing clean air. So I love to just come out and smell my plants. Plus, they produce their own essential oils. Actually, my Meyer lemon tree is amazing in essential oil production this time of year when it's in bloom. It smells so amazing. So the plants clean the air for us, which is very important. And in addition, what people don't realize is that the plants also are great filters of the water, right? They have water, that the water comes in through their roots, and basically it purifies the water so that when you're eating a watermelon, right, that is basically purified water through the plant, plus the plant nutrients, including the phytochemicals, the phytonutrients, the lycopene, the vitamin C, the minerals that are in there for you to enjoy. So I love to get all my nutrition through water that has been filtered by plants instead of just drinking filtered water out of the tap, right? In addition, there are no filters to replace when allowing your plants to filter the air, unlike when you have a watering, water distillation or water filter system or air cleaner in your house, right? Nothing to change, just let the plant keep growing, and it's going to do its job of filtering the air or the water for you. 10th reason, and my final reason for growing your own garden, is because a garden will increase your health and also the planet's health, right? I've summed up all the different reasons, and literally by growing your own food, you can grow significantly higher quality food, significantly better tasting food, and have a more enjoyable time and peaceful life by growing your own garden. One of the things I love, especially in these times of social distancing, is just come out to my garden and relax with my thousands of plants that I have planted in my backyard and hanging out with them, watching the birds and the bees. But basically, you can make your plot of land or your patio in your apartment, or even inside your kitchen if you don't have a patio outside, you can make that a more green space and grow some of your food to offset all the food miles and to get all the benefits that I've talked about. I know some of you guys, John, I don't have a backyard, I don't have a front yard, I don't even have a patio, man. Well, you guys can grow sprouts. Growing your own sprouts is amazing. Growing your own microgreens is amazing. This can be done inside. And the cool thing is, I'm not just making this video out of the blue, out of the air. I've been teaching gardening online now for the last 10 years. I have a repertoire of over 1,500 episodes on gardening. If you wanted to learn how to grow a pineapple, that's the last episode I just published, right? I go into a successful pineapple farm that's been running for like 13 years, and I go in detail all the different aspects and criteria and how to grow a pineapple, how to fertilize a pineapple, right? I have special episodes on how I set up my backyard garden when I came from nothing. This was just freaking dirt in the middle of the desert, and how I started building my raised beds, filling it with good soil, putting in an irrigation system, planting my plants, and getting growing, right? Check out some of my videos from 10 years ago when I converted my front yard into an all raised bed edible vegetable garden, right? I made videos to teach people about what I've learned to help save the world, save the planet, more importantly, increase the quality of the food that I'm eating. All around, gardening and growing your own food is one of the best things you could do. And I hope after watching this video, you will take action. You will take one step, whether it's sprouting, and growing some food in your mason jar so that you don't have to buy, broccoli in the store. You could grow your own broccoli sprouts that even have more, health beneficial properties in the sprouts, like the isothiocyanates, than in the full broccoli flour that is normally purchased, right? That's one action I want you guys to take after this episode. If you guys enjoyed this episode and will take an action, hey, please be sure to give this video a thumbs up. Also, please be sure to share this video on Earth Day with others to let them know, in my opinion, the most important action you can take on Earth Day to make the world a better place. And if we all take our part to at least grow a little percentage of our food, we could take an incredible load off the system and make the world a better place, one person at a time, because all this has to start from the ground up, because it ain't happening from the top down, in my estimation. So also be sure to click that subscribe button right now below so you don't miss out on my new upcoming episodes. I've come out every 5 to 7 days. You never know where I'll share what we'll be learning on my YouTube channel. Make sure you click the bell so you get notified as my new videos come out. Also, be sure to check my past episodes. The past episodes are a wealth of knowledge. Over 500 episodes at this time on this YouTube channel. Eating the lowest, eating lowest on the food chain as you possibly can to help save the earth, and also, in my opinion and my experience, save your health at the same time without eating things in packages, bottles, and jars, and without eating the foods that have very high detrimental effects on the environment, such as the animal foods. So with that, my name is John Kohler with OKRAW.com. We'll see you next time, and until then, remember, keep eating your homegrown fruits and vegetables. They're always the best.